Good evening. Welcome to the June 2025 regular meeting of the Clemson Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Bob Healy, and I serve as the chairman for this meeting. The other members in attendance will now introduce themselves. Starting on the right.
Hey there, I'm Annie Morosky. I'm just a community member.
I'm Abbas Fuzat, retired faculty at Clemson.
And
I'm Keith Rocco.
okay, the city of Clemson Zoning Commissioner Jacob Peabody is also in attendance. The recording secretary for this meeting is Rebecca Wilbanks. If you would like to speak regarding a matter on the agenda, you will need to read and sign the speaker's form, which is also located in the lobby. For those who wish to present factual testimony, you will be sworn in by the chair. You will be asked for the signed form should you choose to speak. The meeting will be conducted in the following manner. For each item, the Board of Zoning Appeal will hear testimony from the zoning administrator or recognized city representative. After the testimony, the applicant or their representative will be given an opportunity to provide testimony. The board will hear sworn testimony from any individual who desires to present factual evidence directly related to the agenda item. The board will hear unsworn public comments. Questions asked by the board during a presentation will not count towards the time limit. Okay. The applicant and zoning administrator will be given 10 minutes for rebuttal. All comments and questions must be directed to the chairperson, who will respond or direct the question to the appropriate party for response. Any written comments received by the planning office a week ago or longer have been submitted to the BZA. After all comments are offered, the chairperson will close the hearing portion of the meeting, and the Board of Zoning Appeal will discuss and evaluate the information presented in the context of the requirements of the city code. Please turn off all cell phones or place them in silent mode. A reminder to the board members, please ensure your mics are on, speak into them, and avoid side conversations and crosstalk. Again, welcome to the meeting. Okay. I guess first order of business will be the adoption of the minutes from November 21st, 2024. Did everybody have a chance to read them?
Yes.
Yes.
Does anybody want to make a motion to accept those minutes?
I do.
I'll
Do
second
we have a
that.
second? Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay, so the minutes are adopted. First, excuse me, our public hearing this evening is 2025-SC-01. Applicant University Cottages LLC is requesting a special exemption in accordance with section 19-305-4B that, if approved, would allow for a group home for adults with disabilities to be built at 201 Calhoun Street. SPEC-000-449-2025. I believe we start with comments from Jacob.
That is correct. Okay, so we're here tonight for a special exemption, which has a lower formality than a variance. So it's not like having to go through those individual criteria, but it's more of a general yes or no vote towards the end. That being said, the subject property has already been subdivided into 3 lots. So the 3 lots you see there already exist. But what is in front of you tonight is using this as a group home for adults with mental deficiencies. The proposal is for a group home for developmentally disabled. The lot closest to Calhoun Street will be a single family with 9 beds, while the 2 back lots will both have duplexes on them with 3 beds per unit. So they'll make a total of duplexes was at 4 beds per unit, my bad. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm confusing everybody in this. The middle one will have 3 beds per unit, and the farthest one back will have 4 beds per unit, for a total of 23 beds as part of the development, which will be for 4 caretakers and 21 adults with special needs. The property is zoned RM1, which does allow for this use, and I have made some suggestions. The staff supports this application, but basically due to the large parking lot size, there are some suggestions that we put in place. First, that the parking lot and drive aisle will be moved 3 feet off the side property line, which the applicant has actually already revised the site plan to reflect that. Then a minimum of a 6-foot-tall solid fence be installed along the property line with 203 Calhoun Street. If they ever do put in lighting in the parking lot, the poles be limited to 15 feet tall, the lights be dark star compliant, lights will be shielded to not shine towards the property at 203 Calhoun Street, and the lights have a maximum brightness of 1,500 lumens and a maximum temperature of 3,000 Kelvin. The applicant has already stated that the buildings will be craftsman style, and we would like to see that as a stipulation. And with that, I'll turn it over to the applicant. Hope I didn't confuse you guys too much about it, but anything you'd like to add?
How are you guys tonight?
Good, thanks.
Jacob pretty much went over everything. We wanted to have a place for the Clemson Life students where they're going to transition and try to be, on their own and have a nice living facility. I know there's a cab bus stop there that would be helpful to them as well. Really just trying to meet the regulations that are set forth in the current zoning with this special exception.
What was your name?
Travis.
Travis.
Yes.
Okay. Are you with like a building company or?
Yes, I work for Civil Engineering of Columbia, who is helping university colleges with this project, so
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you as well.
Now, you mentioned that the facility is being built for Clemson Life students transitioning into the norm, it's not a normal life, but after school.
After school.
What about someone other than Clemson's Life students? Can they participate in this facility also?
I would imagine that they can, yeah, that way.
So
I
it's
think it would
not
be open
limited
to-
to,
It's not limited, no, sir. It was just, Mr. Neary is very involved with Clemson, so he, knew of this program and wanted to do something for that, so, he specifically mentioned that, which I mentioned in the application, so. But yes, it would be open to anyone
To anyone
that
who
needed
wants
that
to
need, yeah, for the
and
facility.
am I correct that there's, on the 3 lots, there's just one house on the one that's on the corner of?
Right now, there's no houses out there.
Oh, is it the one with just the empty lot?
It's just the empty lot currently, yeah. But there had been a house there, it was torn down.
Okay, and next to that, well, there's I think 3 or 4 houses further down.
Yeah, further down the line, yeah.
None of those houses are impacted by it. But none of them are gonna be,
No, the demolition that has already happened.
okay.
So where we're at right now is the site's basically ready to go for this development. The neighbor, I actually spoke with the immediate neighbor who owns the next 2 houses. One's rental and then one is where they live. And they are aware of the project and been in contact with the owner too, just to make sure everything goes smoothly.
Okay.
Was this lot divided into 3 lots for this purpose, or was it, had it been divided into 3 lots, and it just happened to be a suitable place for what this group is proposing to do?
So it was divided to build these 3 structures. And my understanding, I mean, I don't want to put words in you guys' mouth, that if this wasn't approved, it'll probably go forward as a rental. It'll still be the structure will be built. It just won't be used as a facility for the handicap.
Okay, so one way or the other, there will be something built there, and it will become either student housing or would be used for the people with disabilities. Now, if it becomes student housing, do they have to apply for a zoning?
No, if the use ends, if the special exemption ends, so if they stop using it for a group home, it automatically reverts to being able to use as duplexes, but the occupancy will then be reduced to 2 per unit.
Okay,
So then we'll go down to only 10 people being able to live on the property.
Because this is RM3, is it?
RM1.
RM1, okay.
Yep. So RM3 has an occupancy of 3, RM1 has an occupancy of 2 per unit.
and the 4, I believe it said there'd be 4 caretakers on site. Do they split up, so like, what, 1 in each building and then 2 in one, or?
I guess it really depends on the occupancy of the structures, but we wanted to make kind of provisions for there at least to be 2 that kind of rotate through to see if anyone actually needed assistance, and then there's room to add if they find that they're at complete full occupancy, then they would most likely add the other caretakers in.
And the only access to and from the parking lot would be that driveway on Calhoun?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got a question about the parking lot. So I'm not a civil engineer by trade, but the parking lot, I'm assuming, would be non-porous, which could create some water runoff issues for neighbors and stuff. So could you just speak to that? And
Sure. So we would work with Jacob in engineering for a stormwater permit where we would collect anything that was within our site. We would collect and tie into an existing, I would assume there's a drain system along the road currently that we would tie into.
okay, and does where the parking lot is make sense to tie into whatever drainage
Yes.
situations there?
Yeah, we feel confident that, well, they have to meet standards, so they cannot increase the runoff to their neighboring property.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
And with, we know how to handle it to get it to the public drainage system.
Okay. Cool.
So the rooms and beds that you were mentioning, the caretakers will have their own quarters, I suppose, with their own bedrooms and everything, or is it part of this whole thing?
I haven't looked at I don't think the architectural plans are completely finished yet, but I would assume they would have a space of their own, especially for, the way we looked at it, there would be kind of 2 through the day and 2 through the night, so they would work in like in a shift setting. So I would assume that they would have like a 1-bedroom type scenario for them to rest and whatnot through the night.
And as far as the style, you mentioned that it would be craftsman style. Are all the buildings to be no more than 2 stories?
Yeah, I believe we're limited to 35 feet, so yeah, it would be 2 stories.
Okay.
You can, in that height, fit the 2 stories with a pretty steep roof and do almost like a tiny attic if they so chose, but nothing that we, in our discussions, have limited things like that, but.
Yeah, 2 stories is what we were proposing.
Okay.
So am I understanding it right that if this property is not used for handicapped people anymore, they give it up basically, it becomes just a student or a housing like a
Yeah, we don't know it would be
two-person
student housing, but it would, yes, it would revert back to
two-person.
RM1, which, that's why, it's being built to meet RM1 just regular standards. So if anything happens, if, because right now we have a growing population of Clemson Life graduates, but you never know what the future holds. So if that shrinks, then yeah, it could always be used as, underlying zoning. And it is conforming to those standards as well.
And it would continue as all one? I believe that's what you said, this property is really all one?
No, it's 3 different properties.
Yeah, there's 3 lots, but
Yep.
what's the zoning?
Oh, RM1, sorry. Yeah.
RM1.
Sorry about that.
RM1. And that's what it stays.
Yeah, it's staying RM1, it just has the RM1 district, we're not doing a zone change here. It's just the RM1 district allows for a special exemption for group homes, which then allows, as long as the people involved are disabled, to have a higher occupancy. But if, you know, if there was no longer that use, then it would
Then it
revert
goes
back to the
back.
occupancy. Yep.
Okay.
And the two occupancies per unit, so what is our definition of unit here?
So you have a duplex.
It's gonna have nine beds in it, so.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, you know, hopefully they'd rent it to a family. A family counts as one occupant, no matter how many people are in it.
Okay,
But, so honestly, in a way, this almost lends itself, if it doesn't get used for Clemson Life, as being, you know, affordable housing family development, because it will have, usually when people are building straight for students, they only build two bedrooms. We want more bedrooms and rental units. That's something we desperately need is, you know, that other sector of, you know, family rentals that we don't have a lot of in town. So even if it reverted that, but it still would have even if it has, you know, 9 bedrooms or 6 bedrooms, it can only be used for 2 occupants.
got it, okay.
That'd be probably my only concern right now that I can come up with is that one building with 9 bedrooms, because if it were not used for that, it's almost designed just for that. And
Yeah.
there would be no other options other than to kind of gut it.
Yeah, it'd be, you know, more than like, yeah, it'd be tough use, but you'd probably end up redoing it into a duplex and do, you know, each side of whatever.
Okay.
Explain to me, what is that solid line where the cars are parking against? Is there a fence in there? And what is that dashed line that's further back?
Okay, those are both property lines, so that's the adjacent property lines.
Setbacks, I'm assuming, with the dash lines?
So the,
No, the dash lines are just property lines as well, just not to do with this property.
so the solid line over there is, what, is there a fence in there? Are the cars going to park against the fence, or what are they going to park?
That is my suggestion, is that the parking lot be moved off 3 feet, so they have to shrink down things a little bit, and that a fence be put down that entire property line. That is my suggested stipulations.
And Jacob, probably should know this, but what is the required setback? Both on all 3 sides?
Oh, 15 feet.
15?
Yep.
And the sides are 8.
Well, yeah, side's 8, that's correct.
So if this becomes a family rental, if you want,
Yep.
then you're going to have some kind of partition between them and some driveway that connects from the entrance to individual homes, rather than a common parking area for all 3 units, I imagine.
Well,
Some
no, I
changes
think
might
you'd
be
probably just have a
necessary.
common parking area. I think that would be very hard to retrofit. You just have an easement for cross use. Yeah, because we do have several of those around town that you'll see common, that's becoming more of a kind of thing, it's the whole patio home development style. You are seeing, you know, common parking areas.
Are there any more questions?
No.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Okay, so we have, I guess the next thing is for us to, the board to discuss the.
Yep, you guys discuss amongst yourselves, and then at any point you feel, you know, that, well, first you take public comment from just, you have to announce, is there anyone here from the public? And
Anyone from the public want to make a comment?
then also,
No.
Becca, did we receive any written comments? No, sir. Okay, then you can close the, oh,
Just since these questions are posed in here, I'm going to ask them.
Yep.
Like traffic impact, what is the expectation of when, how many cars will be coming and going and stuff like that? Ambulances probably, or whatever is necessary. What kind of is projected to be there?
well,
That's my question.
the parking lot is sized for when family members and everyone come, and we anticipate during holidays, different special events and things like that, that it could get filled up. But I think day to day, we don't have too many of them to drive. I don't know if any of them
And
drive.
a lot of these,
Yeah.
a lot of the people that are gonna be living there, I see them.
Yeah.
Not like they use the transit system.
Yes,
you
not
know,
that
so-
they'll have cars, I just
So
want.
we're anticipating a day-to-day of a very low traffic count. You're gonna have the caretakers coming and going, so you figure, 8 trips or so of that a day, relatively low traffic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll close the public comment. I just like using my. Okay, so any comments from the board?
Can we, in our vote, can we vote to include the stipulations that Jacob presented earlier with the fence and the lights?
Yeah, I would agree. I think I liked all the recommendations that I saw on the sheet.
Craftsman style, I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have very few neighborhoods in this town that actually have any sort of consistency in style. And this is one of our very few that actually has like historic style to it, so we'd just like to keep that going.
Yeah.
okay, I believe, okay, we should be addressing like traffic impact, which I think we just went over. Vehicle and pedestrian safety. Are there sidewalks?
Yeah, this property is lined with sidewalks on on both public sides.
On both public sides?
Yep,
Okay.
we actually have a pretty large bike path that goes in front of it. I might be asking you guys for an easement for it. Looks like we're over your property a bit.
But where the cars are entering, that's the side. What's on that side? I don't see any streets or anything on that side where the.
That's where the next person's property is, over here.
Is that the farm?
The farm is to the north of it, correct?
Here.
So this looks
This
like
is
this
the
is,
development
this is
down
where
here.
looks like that's where the cars will enter in, or
No,
not? Or they enter in from this
Yeah.
side?
Yeah,
I see,
they'll
I see,
come in
okay.
down here. Okay, potential impact of noise, lights, fumes, or obstruction of airflow on adjoining properties? Any concerns on that?
Well,
Okay.
are they going to eat in there?
Eat in
Is there
there?
going to be kitchens and
Oh,
all
yes.
that for like
Absolutely, yes, yes.
24 people in there or something? However many there are going to be?
Is it a communal kitchen or each unit has its own?
I don't know, I don't believe, I think that each unit, as in each like side of the duplex, will have it, and then the caretaker might have a little kitchenette or something along those lines, but.
Okay.
Again, the final design, I don't think has been done. They're first getting through, see if they can do the use, then they go through the full engineering to lay it out.
Okay. Next one, adverse impact of proposed use on the surrounding area, including the aesthetic character of the area. I do agree with your comment, if it's gonna be in a craftsman style and kept below 35 feet, it certainly would fit into that area. Also, I believe we said there was no comments, certainly no negative comments from any of the neighbors,
That is correct.
so that's good. Orientation and spacing of improvements or structures.
They meet all setback requirements, so I
Yeah.
can tell you.
Okay. Now it says the board may prescribe appropriate conditions and safeguards to relieve or reduce adverse impact of a special exemption and to protect the character of the area. Okay, I think that's where we want to address these comments that the city has added on here. I guess the way to do it is ask somebody to make a motion to accept those as conditions.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the stipulations that the city staff presented at the start of the meeting. And-
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Okay, so we will be accepting items 1, 2, 3, 4, the suggestions made by city council, and I'll just read them quick. Parking lot and drive aisle must be 3 feet from the side property line. Minimum 6-foot tall solid fence or wall be installed between the parking lot and 203 Calhoun Street. If there are any light poles in the parking lot, to meet the following standards. Poles limited to 15 feet tall. Lights will be dark sky compliant. Lights will have shielding to not shine light into the property at 203 Calhoun Lights. Lights will have a maximum brightness of 1,500 lums and a maximum temperature of 3,000 K. And then the applicant has stated that the building will be a craftsman style. So all those items will be included as stipulations to our decision here. Okay, no variance may be granted by the board. By the board of connection. Okay, so we're not asking for any kind of variance. And the expiration of the special exemption.
If it is not enacted within 2 years, so if this project is not active within 2 years, they would have to come in for an extension.
Now, would that be beginning to build in 2 years or be
No,
completed in 2 years?
They have to be in use in 2 years, and if they are not, they have to come back in, you guys can grant an extension, but they would have to come back in if it's not in use in 2 years. And then at any point, if the use is abandoned for 120 days, it goes away.
Okay. Okay, do any other business we're missing?
Nope, I think at that point, just a vote to approve
Okay,
the stipulation.
so do I have a motion that we accept the request with the stipulations that we've mentioned?
Sure, motion to accept
And
with
do I have a
stipulations.
second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. Right. All opposed? Okay, so, thank you, good luck with it. Okay, if there's no other business,
Make a motion to close the meeting.